Hello, I'm Rune Moelbak. I'm a psychologist in Houston, Texas. Today I wanted to just talk to you about a common thing that happens when couples come and see me in my office. And one of those things is that all of a sudden, one person will start to become really unhappy with the relationship. They'll become angry, critical, dissatisfied, and the other person doesn't quite know what to do. They come home one day and it just feels like everything has changed on them, and it's very distressing, and they don't really know how to make the discontent of their partner go away. And one key insight here is that when we get into relationships, we're not just getting into a relationship with another human being. We really are getting into relationships with people who are part animal and part human. We share certain fundamental brain structures with animals. So we have a reptilian part of our brain and we have a mammalian part of our brain. And in those parts of our brain, what the game is about survival. And when the reptilian part of the brain gets activated, or we perceive some kind of threat or danger, then we will react in a way that is basically based on fight or flight. Our brain will immediately send a signal to other parts of the body to produce stress hormones, and those stress hormones will make us feel like we are in danger. And when we feel that way, the higher forms of the brain, the frontal lobes, they shut off, and we act very instinctively just to make things better. And when that happens, we might get angry, we might get critical, we might want to flee the scene, we might want to end the relationship. So all kinds of things can happen that can feel very overwhelming to the other person. And one of the reasons why our more animal part of the brain is kicking in is that human beings perceive danger as not just being threatened physically, but also having a threat happen to our basic sense of attachment. And so when we're in a relationship, we often have a need, whether we are aware of it or not, to feel secure, to feel like we can count on the other person, to feel like the other person is into us, is there for us, and can provide us what we need in a particular type of situation. And if our more primitive part of the brain, the limbic system, if it perceives that that isn't happening, or we can't take that for granted, then it's going to release those fight or flight instincts, and we're going to become an animal who is acting out of fear. And we're going to say and do things in those moments that are not going to be our usual way of responding. And the analytical part of our brain is not going to necessarily be available to us in those moments. And even if it does become available to us because the stress hormones go down again, now we might start to have thoughts that try to find a reason why we're feeling the way we're feeling. So we might come up with reasons why the things we thought were a bit odd or alarming, why they might be true. So if somebody is finding that their partner is coming home late, for example, if the threat response is getting activated, then the animal part of the brain might again produce those stress hormones and make the danger feel very real. And then our analytical part of the brain might start to think, oh, maybe he's having an affair, or maybe she doesn't really care about me anymore, or maybe he's more interested in work than he is in me. So we can come up with all these reasons that justify the stress response because it feels so real. And so this is often one of the reasons why many couples get very stuck, because they are not just dealing with a logical, rational aspect of their relationship. They're dealing with the fact that they're both animals. And at the end of the day, they have instinctive responses, some of which they don't even understand consciously, but which makes them feel certain ways and experience a certain level of stress that makes them act out of fear, out of some danger, whether or not it's true. And that is really what we're often dealing with when couples come in and they're in distress. We're dealing with a way to try to soothe and calm and reassure that animal-like aspect of each partner that gets triggered when things aren't feeling completely safe, or when couples aren't feeling completely secure.